Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is day 1 of our October release, and I have a card and tag to share. Hey, so I am using Jaded Blossom's Octagon Dies Christmas Add Ons 1, along with their large glasses dies, their glasses dies, their Octagon Treat Box dies, their Girl Gnome dies, their Gnome dies Halloween Add Ons, along with the rectangle Internal Scallop dies, their rounded tag dies, and their word bubble dies. I'm also using the Let It Snow Doodlebug paper line along with the odds and ends that match, and black glossy cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. Now, I also am using the brand new set Merry Christmas Gnomie, and I just didn't have it to show you in the video. So I have a piece of paper tray ink, red poppy or pure poppy cardstock cut at 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches. And now I'm adding a piece of cheapo white cardstock to the inside, 4 by 5.25 inches with an A2, or with my ATG gun. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Anyways, I'm also going to add a 1-inch strip of paper to the inside of this card, and that is from that Let It Snow paper line, the 6-inch pad from Doodlebug. Now I'm just scoring that with my Teflon bone folder. Now this is a piece of paper from that same pad, and it's cut 1/8 of an inch smaller than an A2 size card base, and I'm going to add that to the front of my card with some ATG tape. And I'm working on my Stampin' Up! Pad as per usual. All my die cutting today was done with my Gemini machine. So there's that. Now I cut out the rectangle Internal Scallop die out of that pure poppy cardstock from Paper Tray Ink, and I'm adding it to my card base with art glitter glue. Now, to be honest, this doesn't really show, so I probably could have skipped this, but you know, card making is an evolution, and sometimes, you know, what you start out with is not what you end up with, so I just left it in. So now I have my rounded tag die. I cut the back layer out of pure poppy cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. Then I cut the top layer from that Let It Snow pad again. And same paper, right? And then I cut a rectangle Internal Scallop die out of that same pure poppy cardstock. You'll see. Now the top of this rounded tag die, sorry, the top of it, I cut it out of paper from that same pad, but I did cut it out again out of that pure poppy cardstock just so I could layer it. So now I'm going to add on that rectangle Internal Scallop. This one kind of shows a little bit more than the other, but I'm going for a matching card and tag set. So I'm just adding that with my art glitter glue. I will weight that down with an acrylic block, and then I'm going to add my top to this. I did add the pure poppy background or back layer to this just so it would be sturdy and it wouldn't, you know, dip with the layers underneath. So there we have it. So now I'm going to put together my little gnome here. So I'm adding the little dress to the girl gnome, right? That's that same pure poppy cardstock. I cut the background out of just some cheapo black cardstock. Now I'm going to add in the face. That's that P13 stamping pad skin tones. I'm using my reverse tweezers. Now I'm going to add the little hat. That's from the Halloween Add Ons. I'm going to trim off the overhang of that black background there, and then I will stick down this little hat. So I'm making kind of like a little girl Santa kind of looking gnome. So this is really easy peasy stuff. And the nice thing about these gnomes is you can use the parts all year round. You can interchange them and do some fun stuff. Now the hair, I cut out of just some American Crafts gray cardstock, and I'm just going to pop those in place, you know, just with a little bit of gray. And I've got 2 little bows that I cut out of that pure poppy cardstock from Paper Tray Ink again, and I'll add those with some art glitter glue. So I really love this brand new stamp set, the Merry Christmas Gnomie. And I just thought it was so cute. I'm going to be using the sentiment Gnome Surveillance just because it just kicked an idea off in my head. It made me laugh. So hopefully you'll get a kick out of this design too. So I'm going to add the little nose just with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, popping it up a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little pom-pom onto the end of her hat little white pom-pom, and I'll clamp that on just so it glues. Now I've got a piece of doodle twine, and I'm going to loop that through this tag, and then I'll tie the end. And, you know, I just think it's so cute. So you see there that sentiment is stamped onto the white bottom part of that rounded tag die. And I'm using it kind of like snow, but you know, you get the gist. So gnome surveillance. And I'm just sort of fraying the end of this little, you know, piece of twine. I just think it looks kind of cute like that. And I'm going to be using red satin ribbon. I don't know the brand, but I'll be using that on my tag as well. So now I'm going to quickly layer up some glasses. So I cut them out of American Crafts cardstock first, and then I did cut the top layer out of that Simon Says Stamp black glossy cardstock because I wanted them to be shiny. So I'm just going to layer those up, and I will weight them down in between. And then I'm going to add the glasses onto this cute little gnome. Now you'll see that I took the nose off just because I wanted it to you know, stick down well. So now I'm pulling out my Bow Easy, and I'm going to tie a quick bow to go on this tag. And I always tie my bows using a Bow Easy. I'm just not that great at tying bows otherwise, so that's what I do. And I'm actually going to tie a white bow that I don't use. So this is another thing that I left it in because, you know, sometimes we change our mind while we're creating. And that's what I do. So this gnome surveillance, what came to mind is like, you know, an FBI agent or a CIA agent. And it just, you know, it cracked me up. And I thought, wouldn't that be funny if we had little gnomes and they were watching? Sort of like your, you know, the little gnomes that they, you know, have for the kids. I can't even remember what it's called. You know, the little Christmas elf, the one that watches to see if you're bad or good. Well, this just kind of hit me like it's, you know, like they're little FBI agents. So they're going to be wearing black shades. And it just cracked me up. So that's what I went with here. So I'm just making sure that the little glasses are stuck down. Now I'm going to pop up the nose. And now you have a little gnome that's going to be doing some gnome surveillance. So I'm sort of going to tilt her on the side, and I'm going to, you know, layer that gnome behind the bottom of that tag, but I'm going to have to cut her off. So I'm just trying to see the best way to do that. And then I'm going to do some trimming with my scissors. And then I will get my gnome in place here. So I decided to cut an extra layer of that bottom part of that rounded tag die, and I'm going to layer them up. And then, so I kind of have the little bit of the red peeking out from the bottom. And then I'm going to, you know, get that gnome behind that little chunk of snow, kind of peeking out, right? She's like, she's, you know, in deep cover, wearing her dark glasses, and she's keeping an eye, making sure that people are good at Christmas, right? So I'm just, you know, trimming off the overhang. I'm going to be sticking that all down with my art glitter glue. So easy stuff. And I'm going to stick my gnome down there. And then I will, you know, I'm just going to clamp that little pom-pom down. Now I'm going to build my Octagon Christmas add-on one. So I use the Octagon dies, and then I'm also using the Octagon Christmas Add Ons 1. So I cut out the white fluff for the hat in white first, and then I cut it out in the same pattern, that pattern that I used for the top of that rounded tag die. Now I'm going to be layering up the beard. So I cut it out of white paper first, and then I'm adding my American Crafts gray cardstock. So I'm going to be making a gnome, not Santa, right? That's what I'm going for. So I'm going to add on that mustache and, you know, like I said, the gray on top of the white cardstock, just giving it a little bit more weight, you know, for the layering. There you have it. And I do weight it down in between. So now I'm going to put together my glasses. So they're cut out of American Crafts cardstock. And I do cut a couple layers. And then the top layer will be that Simon Says stamp black glossy cardstock, just so you get the black glossy sunglasses again. So now I'm using, I cut out the Octagon, from the Octagon Treat Box die. I cut out the Octagon, and that's just going to be the base of my design. And remember, normally you put it sideways, but I'm putting it up and down just because I'm using it as a base for this gnome. So I'm building my own gnome. I cut the hat out of that same Pure Poppy cardstock. And then I'm deciding where it's going to go on this Octagon, because really this is just a background piece for me to build my gnome on. So I'm not following the rules. So the idea is that I'm going to have this little gnome on my card, and he's in gnome surveillance also, you know, checking to make sure if everyone's good. So I'm sliding down that little fluff behind the mustache. And then I'm going to get my glasses on. I'm trying to decide if the glasses are going to go in front of the mustache or behind the mustache. So there we are. So I'm going to add my little mustache first with some ATG tape and art glitter glue using my reverse tweezers. I'm just trying to line that up because I want to cover all of the white on the background piece. So now I'm going to add my glasses. And I'm just trying to decide where they're going to go. So I've got, I'm going to decide where I have to pop them up and where they can be flat. So I'm using some of these Derice foam strips, and I'm going to run them along the top of the glasses because those are lower, right? Because I did build up the beard and the mustache quite a bit. And then, you know, because I want it all to be flat in the end, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm just sort of building up that bridge of the glasses. Now I'm going to add glue to the bottom part. And then I'm building this super cute gnome wearing these sunglasses because, you know, he's like part of the CIA or the FBI making some, you know, following people doing gnome surveillance at Christmas time, right? Okay, so now I'm going to get going here. And I'm just going to make sure that nothing dips, you know, with my, with my little bits of foam tape here. So there we are. So I'm adding some foam tape to inside the glasses just because I want them to be all level. And then I can add on the black pieces. So the black pieces are cut out of just American Crafts cardstock, but I do layer the shiny part on top because I want the glasses to be kind of like those reflective black shades that, like, you know, FBI agents and CIA agents use or wear on TV, you know. Kind of fun, right? And then I will glue down the bottom part of the glasses. And then they'll be nice and level inside those glasses. I love all the stitching that Jaded Blossom puts on their die cuts. I just think it makes it look so much more finished and amazing. So there you have it. So I'm just going to add the inside up to these glasses. And then I'm going to pop up this little nose, but I will cut it twice because I want a little bit of sturdiness. I actually cut it 3 times, sorry. I'm adding a little bit of dimension. So first I'm going to pop a little pom-pom on. That is cut out of Paper White cardstock. Then I'm going to add on my little nose. And I will glue that on. Isn't that cute? I just think this is just adorable. Just the cutest little guy. And then I'll weight that down just to make sure it sticks well. So I did stamp that gnome surveillance with VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink onto paper, or that's Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock, cut it out with our word bubble dies. And then I did cut a second layer out of red, and I'm just going to offset them a little bit. And then I'm going to, now I'm pulling out our Christmas tree, Build a Christmas Tree die. This was not in the plan, but I've decided that's what I'm doing. So I cut out the Christmas tree. and the background piece twice. And I'm just going to make it a little bit longer. So that's what I was doing there. This is cut out of Doodlebug's Grasshopper Green cardstock. It's got a texture, which is nice. Now I'm going to put all my layers on. I did cut a couple extra layers just because I did make this longer than it's meant to be. And it's going to look like he's peeking out behind a tree. That was kind of my plan. You know, he's keeping an eye on Christmas. There you have it. Oh, and it just came to me. Sort of like Elf on a Shelf, but, you know, like gnome surveillance instead, right? Now I'm just, like I said, adding on all of those little layers. I will start at the bottom and work my way up just because I find that that's the easiest way. And, you know, and then I end with the top part. And then I will have a full tree, but I'm going to be cutting this off. Not all of it will be showing, but I wanted all the layers and everything. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how is this going to fit? And this is when you'll notice that that rectangle internal scallop die really probably could have been skipped because it really doesn't show all that much. It doesn't add really anything to the card. But, you know, you live, you learn, right? So I've got two little hands. Really, those aren't hands. Those are the heads from the Girl Gnome dies and then the noses that I used for the little thumbs. So now I'm going to quickly add on all of my little pieces that I've created to go on this card front. So I'm going to have this little gnome guy. He's kind of peeking out from behind this tree. And I don't want to really show any body or anything because I don't have a body on him, right? So I'm having him peek from behind the tree. And I'm going to add that tree flat onto my card base and use a little bit of art glitter glue and ATG tape. And I'm going to stick that down, and then I will cut off the overhang with a pair of scissors. There's quite a bit of layers actually involved in that, but you know, grab a sharp pair of scissors and cut through all the layers, and then you'll be in business. There you have it. So isn't that something? So now I'm going to build little hands to be holding the tree. So I have it kind of like, you know, the little thumb sticking out from behind the hand. That's what I was going for. So on one side, he's kind of like peeking up above, and then his hands on the bottom, kind of holding the tree, right? He's kind of peeking from behind it. And, you know, like I said, easy peasy stuff. And you're just kind of building a scene, right? That's kind of my favorite card to create, just building a scene. There you have that. So I'm just making sure everything's stuck down well. And, you know, popping up those little hands kind of behind the tree and over the tree, you know. So that's the idea. Okay, so now I'm going to pop up the Gnome Surveillance sentiment, and I'm using my 3M foam tape to do that. And you'll notice once I get that word bubble die on the front of this card, it kind of makes that rectangle internal scallop redundant. Like you really don't see much of it at all, so you really could have skipped that part. But like I said, I kept it in because, you know, you live, you learn, right? So there's the card. So now I've decided to pull in my Nuvo Crystal Drops in Simply White, and I'm going to add a bunch of either, you could say this is white ornaments or snow or whatever you want on this tree. So I'm just going to add a bunch of them, and then I'll set that off to the side to dry. So like I said, easy stuff, nothing too crazy. And so yeah, so I'm just using the brand new Merry Christmas Gnomie stamp set today. So I thought that's kind of fun. So now I'm going to finish putting together my tag. I'm going to add my little bow with some hot glue. And then I do have a little button. And I'm going to glue that down as well. I don't even know the brand of this button. It was from a long time ago. You remember we used to craft with buttons a lot back in the day? Well, this is one of them. Kind of just matched with what I had going on. And I'm going to trim off the tails of my ribbon, just so it doesn't, you know, kind of encroach on my little gnome there. And then that's all you have. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to stop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog to be inspired by the team. The Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on the Gotta Have It Now. That's available this week. And then that is all she wrote. So thank you so much for watching my videos. And be sure to come back tomorrow because I'll have another one. Bye, everyone.